Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining from. Is another Ebony Ambassador Mental Resilient Workshop. Ebony Ambassador is a community interest company known for its activities that brings people together through arts, cultural events, skills empowerment workshop like we're doing, and we're known for our yearly event called the Miss Ebony Ambassador Creativity Contest, which we've done 7 years in a row. And my name is Irene Eribo. I'm the CEO and founder of the Ebony Ambassador CIC. And people call me Ebony. My name is Irene. So it's a pleasure to have everyone here today. And there will be a bit of house rule. If you're not comfortable being on camera, please leave your camera off. Turn off your camera because this event is recorded and it will be on other social media platforms from Facebook to Instagram, Twitter, and maybe on our website. So if you don't want people to know that you're here, you can leave your camera closed. And if you feel like also leaving your camera on, it's also welcome. We appreciate it so much. At least we can put a name to your face. And also house rule, we know we're on Zoom. Please, we should stay muted. If we need to speak, we can indicate that we need to speak and you'll be allowed to do so. This session is another mental resilience workshop that we've been doing. I would say we started it 2 years ago, and this project was funded by the Big Lottery Fund 2 years in a row. As we speak now, the funding has ended, but we saw the need for us to continue doing what we're doing because of the feedback that we received from the attendees during the last 2 years that we've been doing the mental resilience workshop. So what we do is to discuss topics that will make people feel a bit better or to be aware of things that are happening around them and to reduce to reduce anything that will lead to depression or that will lead to any stress. That stresses leads to depression, so that will lead to any stress. So we discuss topics, and sometimes we do some fun activities, or we do some exercises that will help us to be better. So today, the topic is tagged Understanding Your Body, and we'll be dealing with 2 interesting topics today: hypermyogia and menopause. I don't know whether I got the first spelling correct, but as I said, that word is not I'm not too familiar with that word as well, but we'll get to know more about it today. We've got 2 amazing speakers that will do justice to that topic. And it is a pleasure to also say that we have someone as well who is willing to share her story. She's a coach and she's willing to share her story with us to understand that everything we're passing through today, someone has actually passed through it. So anything that doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So we'll be hearing from Esther as we go further. And after this session, we're left with a session which is on the use of Zoom. So I know this is our new normal. Everything we do it on Zoom mostly. So the last session, which will be in 2 weeks' time, will be the basic use of Zoom.
Mommy, this is for you.
I'm sorry for that interruption. So as I was saying, the next session will be the use of Zoom. So some of us will think that we know more about Zoom, but I've been to a class with this gentleman, and the way he's a cyber security personnel, the way he analyzed the use of Zoom, you'll be surprised. So I look forward to that session in 2 weeks' time. And yeah, those are the few information I want to pass across. And once again, I want to thank you for being here today. Esther, are you okay to take the mic? We've got Esther Osakwe. She's the CEO and founder of Life Improvement Consults. And she's also a project manager for Ebony Ambassadors. She's someone that loves community work. She's a community activist. She wears many crowns. And she's recently crowned the Miss Commonwealth Africa. So I will leave her to say a bit of herself, then she will take us to reason why we are here today and get to learn or hear her own story. Over to you.
Irene, can you hear me or is it just me?
Sorry. You're muted now, unmute. Can you hear me, Esther?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it's just me. Can anybody else tell me? The thing was just cracking and going in and
Is it
out.
me that was cracking?
I'm not
Yeah.
sure. Oh, is everybody? If somebody said yeah.
Oh, that means it's network then. Sorry about that. Over to you, Esther. You're muted.
Yes, of course. Hello and welcome. As Irene has said, my name is Esther. I'm the CEO and founder of Life Improvement Consults. It's basically about improving the quality of life of people. So, can I just ask before I go in, if you're able to hear me okay, please just put in the chat yes. Put in the chat yes. Yes. That's it. Auntie Yemi has given a thumbs up. I want to make this as interactive. Danielle J. Lowe, thank you for that. Yes. Ebony Ambassadors gave us also a thumbs up. Excellent. Kathy Tanu. Hi, and yes to you too. Yes, thank you. And Kathy, I like your smile. It's beautiful. Thank you so much, everyone. Yes, I know that is about my story, my reality. IB also put a hand up. I know it's about me sharing my story, but one thing I think that's so important and is actually a testament of how much I've grown is that now I'm learning to connect. It's not about me being better than anyone, being more articulate, being prettier. It's not about me being more knowledgeable in my field. It's about connecting. It's about the relational process, the fact that I'm not an island on my own, the fact that I'm here with people. So thank you for engaging me, those of us who were able to. I know maybe some of us are driving or we are in a position where we can't chat. So I like the fact that Kathy has leaned back. She's ready to relax. I love what I'm seeing because guess what? I'm training to be a psychotherapist, but don't worry, I'm not reading anybody or profiling anybody. The reason I was drawn into that job is because of the wounds that I myself have had. I've been sexually abused from the age of 5, when I was 10, when I was 12. I've been rejected. I've been that person they say, okay, don't tell anybody you're pregnant. Just go to this place. And when you go there, be a different person. Don't put anything on social media. Just so when you talk about being stigmatized, ostracized, exiled, I've lived that life. I've been so open that it seems like I've been a calling card for attack. So when I am trying to relate with people, when I'm overcoming all those fears, and I'm able to say, hey, say yes, or put your hand up. And I'm trying to call people. It's not for showmanship. It's not because I want people to like me. Yes, there's some element of people pleasing. If I'm honest, I have some of that. But the most important thing is out of all the things I've endured and suffered and gone through, it made me want to just close up and stay to myself. I've had people say to me, where are you? You seems like you hibernate. Yes. I've gone through so much trauma that it seems better to stay away from the same kind of people or the same kind of species that caused the trauma. Like you heard the expression, a dog is a man's best friend, because people have hurt that person and they don't want to be loved by those people and they close their hearts. But what I realized was when I close my heart against feeling pain, I also close my heart against knowing love. I don't know if any of you can relate. If you can relate, can you just say yes again in the chat? I want us to stay connected. If you can't say yes, you want to use your emojis. But please, I'm calling us in this time for us to really be people that see each other. You know how it's so easy to just put a laughing icon, but nobody's laughing. It's so easy to just go through things. Meanwhile, people are there in your world that are crying for help. So I'll stop doing all the things I was doing. I'll just tell you my story and tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 36 years old. I was born in Nigeria. If you know Nigeria, put a thumbs up. Hey! I'm sorry, that was so loud. I hope your ears are still okay. Yes, I'm proud of my heritage. I was not always proud of it. When I first came to UK in 2009, I never listened to African music. I didn't want to eat our food. I didn't want to wear our clothes. It seemed like I was so abused by that place and the people and their mindsets. And I didn't want to know. But that's my origin. And I've been learning that if I accept where I came from, That makes me stronger. It doesn't make me weaker. It makes me stronger to be fully in front of my past, my history, no matter how traumatic or brutal it might have been. So I'm learning to say yes. Now I listen to Nigerian music. I have Nigerian friends. I eat Nigerian food. And I'm so proud of that process. So I started out very humble. I used to live in a flat, similar to how I live now. My parents were working class, even though my mom is a doctor. She's retired now. And my dad was a barrister, but we were still working class. Sometimes we will not have money to pay our school fees. They'll put me in what they call cage in my school. Then, if you have not paid your school fees, you get out of the class and they keep you in the cage. Not like cage, how they cage animals, but it was, it had fence and it had all of that. Sometimes my parents come late to pick me. Before they come, the gate man has already touched my breast in the school, but I didn't know what was happening, so I couldn't tell anyone. I grew up not knowing why am I here. They say go to school. I'm like, what am I going to school for? Nobody could really explain to me in a way that made sense. Of course, now I know why I go to school. It would be surprising if I didn't know, but I grew up with a lot of ignorance around certain things. How do you walk? How do you stand? What's appropriate? What's not? And to some extent, I'm still learning about myself. I'm still learning about myself. It was 16 years old when I realized that I had spinal bifida. It means there's a space in my back. There's a void. It happens from when you're growing up. Kathy is nodding her head, so I think Kathy, you know something about spinal bifida, yeah?
A bit.
Yeah, a bit. And Daniela says same here. Well, I didn't know that I had it. I just know that after bending down to sweep, in Africa we have these brooms that are not very long, like the ones you have that have stick. You have to bend and sweep. And when I want to stand up, I have to go to the wall and I'll hear crick, crick, crick in my back. And sometimes I can't move my hands and I can't move my legs. And it makes me get really like, I'm be angry and I'll be in pain. I don't know that it's because of the pain, but I'll be rude. And if anybody just asks me any question, it's like I'm possessed or I'm mad and I have no respect or fear. And I just, because when someone is wounded, they don't really know that this was wrong or how to articulate, but you see their behavior to be so unkind, defensive kind of human beings. So this is also an appeal. If you have people like that in your life who seem to be very biting, please, no vex. Just tell them it's okay, they're okay, that they are loved. Don't be so quick to say it's mental health, is this, that. Sometimes all the things that we're going through emotionally, it has to come out. And sometimes it comes out in wonderful and weird ways, even through body pain and different ulcers and different things. So it's about being aware. So before I go further with my rest of my story, I want everyone to just notice how you are sitting right now. Why are you doing this exercise? Nothing. Just be aware of your body. It's not so that you see, oh, are you okay? Are you feeling? But maybe if as you're doing it, you might notice, oh, you have pain here, or you're feeling relaxed, or you're feeling tense. But let's just do a body scan right now. Just take out 1 minute. You may choose to have your eyes closed like mine is closed right now. You may choose to have your eyes open. Just listening to the sound of my voice, any other sound that is in your space. How does your body feel right now? Can you feel your feet on the floor, on your bed, on your car, on your sofa? Can you feel the hair against your face, the skin against your cloth? How do you feel? Can you notice your breath? Are you breathing in deep into your stomach, or is it just in your chest? Just take out time to check in with yourself. What's going on for you right now? Are you feeling hungry? Are you remembering the past? Do you have resentment? Do you need to let go, to forgive? Even as you do your body scan with your mind and check in with your body, I want you to breath as well. If you're able to take a deep, deep breath in for me. Now hold that breath, don't let it go. Hold it. if you can. And when you're ready, let go. Let's repeat this exercise maybe two more times, taking a deep breath. And again, one last time. And when you're ready, feel free to open your eyes. If you want to chat, you can chat me, chat the whole group. Tell us, how do you feel out a small relaxation exercise I just took you through? Just chat in the chat if you're able to chat. So we'll still have the floor open for questions and answers. Fantastic. Antifunke says, I feel relaxed. Some people asked me, they said, we knew you before. You look like a hot mess. What happened? How did the change happen? How did the flip happen? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if the gentlemen here, but ladies, well done at the Kathy Feels Relaxed. When my sister Ofi asked me that question this year, I didn't really know what the answer was, but in a couple of minutes, Irene, is it okay to just open up for Q&A if something I said touched on a nerve or somebody wants to know more? Because it's through talking sometimes I'm able to process. But for me, I think that a time came when I started to trust. I decided to trust that what if I don't have to protect myself from all those pedophiles and all those, because I have this CCTV that's always watching everything and doesn't make me to be relaxed. And I always like combative, ready to fight people and shut them down. But the time came, I started to cultivate, what if I'm protected? What if those things happened to me, but they didn't destroy me? Oh, wow, Danielle has spinal bifida too. Hey, sis, I have spinal bifida. See, when you share what's going on in your life, you realize you're not the only one. Because people see me as strong, and I never want to be weak. I didn't know how to explain even to Irene that, sometimes I need to just shut down from the world and get my body back. Right now, I'm in bed because today I had gone for placement. I came home, I was cooking, I was thinking, yeah, I can do this. And then my back started to do me, and I laid down. My kids came knocking on my door. I was like, thankfully, I don't have to go through it alone or in silence. And there are coping strategies out there. So I'm going to open the floor for any questions about, like, ask me practical things. I know people like stories, like how did you overcome this, and when did you know you got this, and what's your backstory, how did this, relationships and that. And if you're curious about anything about my life, please feel free. But specifically ask questions that when you hear the answers, they're going to help you maybe have improved quality of life, be more relaxed, be more friendly, come out of your shell, heal from your wounds, forgive the past people who have, who hurt, those people who took advantage. And so, yeah, I have many more things that I can share, but I think if we open it up to questions and answers before my sister, BC Antonia comes on. So, yeah, Ebony, do you want to anchor the question and answer part of it?
Okay, thank you so much, Esther, for being sincere. It takes sincerity for you to also share your story so that people can learn or gain one or two things from it as well. Yeah, we're open for questions. We'll take 2 or 3 questions for Esther. Anything you want to ask her that you want to know about her, I've got questions for her, but let me leave the floor open for anyone to ask her question. So any question, you can unmute yourself and ask the question, or if you want to type in, it's fine as well. Okay, my question for Esther. Esther have got 3 girls. She's got twins and a girl, so altogether 3. I want to ask Esther, with your experience in life, are you not like trying to overprotect your kids so that they don't go through what you went through, and mostly the abuse that you went through? What are you doing? Okay, let me rephrase it. What are you doing to protect your girls from going through the abuse that you went through?
Yeah, That's a really good point, Irene, and I'm going to answer it as honestly as I can. And if you notice that I'm trying to run away from the answer, please call me. Call me to order. Because I know that I do have the ability to hide and mask, because I don't want anyone to know the hell I'm going through, because they might judge me and use my vulnerabilities against me in conversations. You know how people can be very callous. So I have three amazing girls. Just bear with me. I have three amazing girls, and God, I don't know. I hope I'm doing a good job. The honest truth is I don't know, because one of my daughters thinks that men are, well, I don't know. She's like, I'm not never gonna date, never gonna marry. I'm like, oops. Okay. Okay. I'm like, okay, that's feedback. What have I said? What have I not said? Was my approach the right approach? And when my girls were still very little, from 3 years old, I said to tell them, these are parts of your body that nobody has no business touching. And even after telling them that, my 3-year-old, when she was 3, she's not 3 now, told me that another girl who was 6 was investigating in her private parts. And I'm like, like, this is a girl to girl. I'm like, okay, is this that children are curious? And because they're curious, they want to do this stuff? Or is it that little girl who's 6 has been exposed to stuff? And I was so hurt. I was like, okay, nobody's going to babysit you guys. I took them out of school, homeschooled them for a while. It was intense. And I'm not saying that's the right route to have gone, because now one child thinks, oh, she's never going to marry. The other one, no matter what I said, she got affected, like a 6-year-old. But the beautiful thing is that I believe that sometimes parents try to insulate their children, they try to shelter their children, and they think that's protection. That's not protection, parents. My parents said to us, don't leave the house, stay indoors. How can children just stay indoors and only go to school and come back, no playing outside? That's unhealthy. But it was while going outside and playing outside, this man found me at 5 years old, offered me some money. I followed him to this secret place. He took my pants down and fingered me. So should I not have gone outside? Should I have listened to my parents? Or should somebody have told me, hey, they're gonna come like this. They're gonna buy you gifts. They're gonna offer you money, iPhone, bags, and whatever. But your body is a temple, and if it doesn't feel right to you, you need to say no. Because guess what? That same daughter who, when she was 3, another neighbor girl daughter was trying something when I left with the mother to babysit. Now, when she was what 7, her classmates said, "Hey, if you show me your pants, I will show you." Just in her school here in England, by the way, said, if you show me your panties, I'll give you my lip gloss thingy. And my daughter reported to her this time, because now she's more aware, she's grown up. She was able to report. And I said to my daughter, well done. And if you want any lip balm, whatever, I'll take you to the shop. I'll buy you those lip balm and stuff. And I think giving children a voice is so important, educating them. When she was 3, I said, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you say something to the girl's mom? She said, Mom, I was scared. And I said, why will you be scared? That mom is even smaller than me. If she tries anything on you, I'll beat her up. Sorry. I was like, don't be afraid of people. But I realized that growing up in my culture, where I came from, Nigeria, it's very typical for your parents to just beat you up. But they don't realize that because they're so big and we're so little as children, we automatically have a fear of people bigger than us or authority. Some people, they say, oh, my pastor did this. Because he's an authority, they feel they can't speak. So when we shout on our children and we shame them when they make mistakes, and we don't help their self-esteem and their confidence, they have that mindset of, oh, shh, 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 just shh, shh, shh. So I started to learn that I need to find ways to affirm my daughters and say, you're good. And for them to speak up, you have a voice. Not shut up. I'm your elder. How will you ask me this? So my children, they're very challenged. They challenge me. And I say to me, okay, if I was their age, well, is that, so I know there's appropriate ways of respect, and all this respect is so important, but I don't want to, there's difference between respect and,
Fear.
thank you.
Yeah.
So for me, it's raising my girls to give them a voice, to know that I'll listen to you. Sometimes I'll be in my pain and I might not be the best, but I try to explain. Right now, sometimes I use a drink. I say, right now, like this drink, I'm just 0%, or I don't know. I just say this is how much I have left. So please don't just allow me to top up. Let me rest or something. So it's a number of things. I educate them, these are how people can try to do, I'll give you a lift, I'll buy you something, whatever. Educate them, your body is your temple. When you're old enough, you can have a boyfriend, have a husband. That's when well, as a child now, they're taking advantage because you're not aware of what you're agreeing to. When I took that 20 naira note and followed that man, I didn't know. I was 5, for goodness sakes. So we should educate our children. Don't talk about the birds and the bees. Find an appropriate way to explain what's birds and bees. I don't even understand. Do you know what they say? Oh, let's talk about the birds and the bees met. They're trying to talk about sex, but they're talking about birds and bees. Who is he helping? What's birds and bees have to do with the I don't know if I even answered your question or if
No,
I
you
went.
did answer the question. Thank you so much. I have reasons for answering for asking you that question, but you've really answered it because I want people to be aware of things that are around us. Like, not because it happened to you, then you're trying to be protecting your own kids and not even letting them aware of the things that would lead to same thing that happened to you to happen to them. So you actually answered the question, and please, we should just do all we can. Somebody will say, what happened to me, so that doesn't happen to the others. So I think that's the reason why we're here today, just learning from people's life experience. And once again, I want to thank you for your sincerity. If there's question, we'll take it later, but let's give Antonia the floor now. And once again, I want to thank you for coming, Esther. I appreciate you so much. Esther, again, is a Crown Queen, Miss Commonwealth Africa, and she's also a project manager for Ebony Ambassador. Thank you again, Esther. I appreciate you. Antonia, another sister from another mother, Antonia BC Adebowale, is a friend and a colleague. We are partner in business. She's a women development specialist. She's a Mary Kay consultant. She wears many hats. And she loves anything empowering, anything that will empower women around her. She will go for it. And also, I'll crown it up that she's a go-getter. There's no day I speak to Antonia that I will not look for a pen to write something down. So thank you so much for always being there. Anytime I call upon you, you answer. Over to you, and I pass the imaginary mic to Antonia.
Imaginary mic. Thank you so much, Irene. First of all, I want to say I'm so sorry. I sincerely apologize for not being here on time. It's just been a long day, one of those days. And Royal Mail not being very, very in their good behavior. Okay, so good evening, everybody. Good evening. It's great to be with you all here today. It's a privilege. I really appreciate being here. And well done, Esther. Well done for sharing your story. Your story is just reminding me of some of my own childhood memories, which are not very palatable. But it's good when we are able to come out and speak about it, right? And they always say these things, they show up in our lives without us knowing, in form of different things, while, later on in life, but being able to share it so that other people can use that as their own experience, it's actually you turning your pain into purpose. So well done, Queen Esther. Okay, so today we are going to be looking at some aspects of our health that really does affect a lot of us, but we rarely talk about. Just like what Esther has just shared, something that people don't talk about, right? So, well, Ebony, you've introduced me already, because whenever I want to speak, I'm always in the habit of wanting to introduce myself, right? It's just me. I just have to sort of introduce myself in a way that I feel comfortable, but you've actually
Please feel free to do that.
Yeah, you've actually, you've done justice to it. You understand? I think you've done justice to it, you know. But you know, I like to affirm myself as well, because you know it's important for us to affirm ourselves. So I am the confident, strong, intelligent, powerful. I wake up motivated and unstoppable. I'm living in abundance and a positive force of nature. I am focused, not defined by my past, but driven by my future. I'm inspiring people through my work. I'm connecting with powerful women like you all here today. And men, if you're here, and we are breaking boundaries. Together we rise to the top and nothing can stop us. My name is Antonia Adebisi Adebowale, aka Antonia Beauty Boss, Triple A. You know, I love that. I love to affirm myself and remind myself of who I am. Whatever I'm going through, I remind myself of who I am, because sometimes our current state of situation, our current situation is not defining who we are, right? We shouldn't define who we are by what is happening with us, whether in our marriage or in our career or health, you know, and our past as well does not define who we are, where we came from. Whether we came from Africa or in Nigeria, they say whether I came from Ajekune or Mushin or whatever, you know, the slums or whatever. That does not define who you are, who you've been created to be, right? Your parents would not define who you are. Your culture does not define who you are, you know, so your current situation does not define who you are. So you are who you are because of your purpose in this life, because of what you carry. Everyone here carries something special, and you are all very, very special people. So there are some issues, especially in the lives of women, and sometimes men as well, that people don't talk about, you know, and I'm here to also speak about some of the things that people don't talk about. And I love to talk about things that people don't talk about, right? So today I'm talking about fibromyalgia. I'm sharing a bit more light on fibromyalgia, just in case somebody here might be already battling with it, or you know somebody, or you might come, how would I say, you might get to find out somebody who is probably going through it. You know, sometimes people are going through things and they're telling you about it and you're thinking, that sounds like what Antonia discussed the other day. Maybe you should go back to your doctor and suggest this to your doctor. Maybe you should check yourself out in this way. So awareness is not only for us. Because a lot of times, you know, we always say, oh, maybe God forbid, this can never happen to me, or, you know, whatever. But awareness is very important. Awareness is not only for us. Awareness is for us and the people around us, our family members, our children, our grandchildren. Once we are aware of something, we are empowered with that thing to be able to do something about it, right? And sometimes, too, we have struggles. And these are things that people are struggling with that they don't even know about. And sometimes we assume people know about it. But I'm going to tell you some stories today to let you know that so many people don't even know about these things. So fibromyalgia and menopause, right? No, menopause is not an illness, right? It's a condition of our lives that just brings about a lot of things that are sometimes not so palatable, right? That is bringing out about some changes in our body. And then fibromyalgia as well is a chronic illness. So I'll tell you a little bit about fibromyalgia. So these two things is something that I have personal experience of. I am not a medical professional, but I'll consider myself as a health champion for women. So I like to discuss things about health for women. I like to look into things that can make us feel better. I like to look at being aware of different conditions. Like when I'm speaking to people, I ask questions because I've grown up with my dad always telling me, ask questions. So, but naturally, I'm a very curious person. So I like to ask questions. So if somebody tells me, oh, this is what I've been going through, but I'll ask a few questions more about that thing. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday who has had cancer. And I said, by the way, and that's why so a lot of people don't do things like that. I said, by the way, can you tell me, I mean, we already know where we both belong to that. She had it, but we're both speaking. And I said, please, by the way, can I just ask what type of cancer was it? Can I just ask what happened prior to you, you know, being diagnosed? And she was able to tell me. You understand? Because I just said, may I be able to, if she's not comfortable, that's fine. But she's gone through it. And so, but I wanted her to share her story as well. And for me to be aware of that sort of thing. And some of the things she told me, I thought, oh my God, maybe God made her call me yesterday for something different, because what she was telling me was something that I could share here today. And I'm going to share it in a bit, right? So it's because I was asking questions, I was a bit interested. You understand what I'm saying? So, so fibromyalgia is a chronic, long-lasting disorder. So it's a type of disorder, like some people call it a syndrome, right? That causes pain and tenderness throughout the body, as well as fatigue and trouble sleeping. Scientists do not fully understand yet what causes it. Everybody's doing their research right now. They're still thinking, you understand? So when people are coming up with a bit of solution for it, sometimes it's just hit and miss, try and error, you know, not one type of thing fits, you know, is a solution for it. There's different type of solution that works for different people. But people with a disorder have different sensitivity to pain, right? So there's no cure for fibromyalgia. It's called fibromyalgia. The other day I was talking to somebody about it. She didn't know what it was. She thought I was talking about fibroids. So she even said, oh, fibroid, I'm aware of that thing. I'm trying to do this about it. I'm like, did you say fibroid? This is completely different from fibroids. Yeah. So fibromyalgia is different. Like I said, is causes pain around all over the body and is a chronic illness, which is ongoing, right? Doctors and other healthcare providers can help manage and treat the symptoms, like I said. But treatments usually involve all these, what's it called, like strong painkillers. Even sometimes strong painkillers don't work, but they try to use things like, what's it called again? Antidepressants, right? So there's different antidepressants, and people react to antidepressants differently. You understand? So some people will try this one, it's not working for them, they have to try another one. You all need to see the type of conversations that go on in the communities where you have people going through fibromyalgia, because there's a lot of online communities of people going through fibromyalgia. Somebody might say something worked for them, and somebody might say, I tried this, I've tried so many times, it's not working for me. So it's and something might work for you today for a few months, like for the next 3 months, and the next year you tried it again, it's not working. So that's how fibromyalgia is, yeah? Therapies are good, psychological, behavioral therapy, medications, because it can actually cause depression. Because you can imagine if somebody is going through pain all over their body all the time. So today is the shoulder, tomorrow is the back, then the next thing is the feet, then is the whole body. So generally, the way fibromyalgia is that the whole body is very sensitive, that like I'm sitting down now, if you come now and you just go and press my body, it's painful, right? So if you just smack me now, it's very painful, right? So the body is quite, and the worst part, you know, when you're in the house as a mom, you're up and down in the house. So if I bang myself, it's crazy when I bang myself on anything. Any part of my body must not bang on anything. You understand? And so, but sometimes it can be migraine. So a lot of migraine, tension, headaches. It's just pain everywhere. It could be the finger. It could be anywhere. You could be sitting down and the lower back pain, spasm. It could be spasm, musculoskeletal pain, the knee. It's just pain all over the body, and it happens at different. Sometimes for some people, it's just the whole pain is all over the body, and sometimes it could be a particular localized area for a while. You understand? So it might wake up and there's no pattern to it. So somebody who is going through fibromyalgia might just wake up to tomorrow, have a whole day ahead of them that I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Then she wakes up and she can't really walk properly. or she's having banging migraine, or she's having pain, she can't walk really, you know, she's in a lot of pain, and it can last for days, or it can last for a whole day, and then it's something else. It can last for months. Particular pain can last for months. I remember there was a particular time where I was even telling my husband the other day, I said, remember that back pain that went on for like almost a year, same area, same thing. And the worst part of it is that you are thinking, is this fibromyalgia, because it's a new type of pain, or is this something else? And that's one thing that I wanted to let everybody know today, that we have to be very careful how we put down, you know, when you're going through things and you're thinking, maybe because I've been stressed, maybe because I've been working very hard. Please don't just take anything for granted. Don't say, oh, maybe it's this. So for me, even though I'm going through fibromyalgia, right, and I've been going through it since I've been diagnosed since 2015. So it might be something that has been there. Sometimes it's even a bit genetic, but life stressors can actually elevate it, right, for it to then start to happen. And I feel like maybe for me, it might be life stressors from maybe parenting and menopause as well, because menopause can bring its own stress, and I'm going to talk about it as well. So fibromyalgia is chronic pain all over and fatigue together. So some people have more of the fatigue sometimes, some people will have more of the pain, right? So because this thing is not very understood, and when you're going through it, people don't see it on you don't lose weight or anything. So it's not like you look sick, right? And because you're going through chronic pain and you're trying to cope with life, you're trying to get on with things, you're trying to put on your makeup and go out there, and you know, people don't really know, they don't see it, they don't understand. Yes, okay, thank you very much. Ms. Joyce said it is also known as the hidden chronic pain. Yeah, it's the hidden chronic pain. Exactly. It's the silent sickness, you understand? Like, it's very, very silent. People there's another name they give it. Something if I remember, I'll say it, because something that when you see somebody, you don't actually you can't tell. Like, you're looking at me now. I mean, today is not even the day that I really put on makeup and I look glamorous, but if you see me in my element and I tell you that I have a chronic sickness, when I mention it to people just shove it like, what's she talking about? I know. When I tell people, they don't take it serious that she's going through something, and somebody called me today and said, oh, Antonia, I really love your energy. I really love the way you do. You have so much energy. You have so much energy. When she was telling me, I was like, then I laughed. I said, sis, yeah, I have a lot of energy in my head, not in my body. If you know what my body is going through, you know. So people can't see it. It's invisible, the invisible illness. Thank you, Miss Joyce. So the invisible illness, that's what some people call it. It's invisible. You can't see it. You understand? So it's hard when you have a colleague at work, right? Or a sister or a partner who is going through this and telling you all the time that today is leg, tomorrow is head. You think the person is making an excuse. What's wrong with this Irene? This is Antonia. You understand? She's always saying this one today. She can't show up for the party. She can't go to this one. You know, imagine somebody with my fibromyalgia has made a promise that we'll go to cinema, we'll do this, and then she now disappointed and say, I'm sorry, I can't go to cinema again. I'm just so tired today, or I'm really having a lot of pain. They're gonna like, why is she always disappointing us? Why is she always? So I know I have a community of women who are going through fibromyalgia because I raise awareness about it. So I've been able to get people from our community who are going through fibromyalgia, and I've been able to come up with them and sometimes have meetings with them and things like that for us to find coping mechanism and tell our stories. And one of them actually shared with me, because it's important to have a community of people going through things together, so that you can talk, you can share your stories. And my doctor advised me that many years ago to find a community. So I'm also creating my own community within our own Black African community as well, right? Because our culture is different and the way people around us perceive things is different. And, you know, so sometimes I speak with them, and, you know, everybody's having different experiences, you understand? And I remember one of them told me one time that she does not like to make commitments, social commitment with people. She's always afraid. Again, that's anxiety, isn't it? So it can cause anxiety, right? Because you're thinking, You know, what if my auntie or my whatever asks me, I don't want to go because I don't know whether I'm going to disappoint them or whatever, you know. So, and people don't understand, you know, so that's causing anxiety for that person. She doesn't like to have any social connections, and that can affect our friendship and relationship with people, especially if the people don't understand it. But when I started having it, I started telling all my close friends, they need to understand it. So my close friends and close family, I try to educate them. So I might send them a video about fibro or whatever, and I was able to educate my partner in the area of fibromyalgia and menopause. So a lot of people say, oh, my husband doesn't understand why, you know, why I do this or blah, blah, blah. And I say, you need to educate your family. You need to share information with them because they need to know, because they are part of your life. So if you're my very good friend, you must understand that sometimes I'm in pain, and sometimes the pain can be so bad, you understand, and that sometimes I can't sleep, sometimes I have to wake up late, you understand. So that's the only friends that I can keep. So if they understand, then that's fine. We have a friendship, you know. So this is just a little bit about fibromyalgia. The diagnosis is the worst part of the journey, right? So getting diagnosed is because you're having all this pain. They've tested you for everything, and that thing is so crazy. When they test you for everything in this world and they can't find anything because there's no particular test or diagnosis for it. But the way they diagnose is that after they've run all the tests in this world, like they've run everything that, you know, might be the problem that you're having, and they can't find anything, then that's when they know that you have fibro. And they also do some sort of point checks to see where you're having the pain and everything. And from the stories of the women that I'm, you know, working with, a lot of them, they went through a lot before they got the diagnosis. They went through so much. And some people are already registered disabled because it's affecting their daily life, like maybe going to work and moving around the house and cooking and doing all those stuff. So it can really be so bad with some people. They're not able to do everyday thing, but for some people, they're still coping, still able to go to work and that sort of thing. I always advise anybody going to fibromyalgia should probably work for themselves, really, you know, or have a bit of flexibility around their work, because you don't want to be telling your employers every day, today is bad, or I can't come to work, or whatever, you know. So a bit of flexible work and that sort of thing, you know. So that's what I will share about fibromyalgia. But if I'm going to menopause, and with fibromyalgia in our African community is not really understood. Even some doctors do not understand it. I spoke to a doctor about a couple of years ago or so, and I was telling her, so you're a doctor, blah blah blah, you know. I had a consultation with her for skincare and everything. I said, well, so as a doctor, you too, I can come to you for some. And when I mentioned fibromyalgia, she said, oh, I always get a lot of patients that come that they have fibromyalgia, but I think they always make it up. She thinks they make things up. Doctor thinks they do make it up. And I educated that doctor that day. I said, no, they are not making it up. It's not superficial. A doctor has told me to be at A&E before that is a superficial thing. I don't know what he meant by that. Like, it's in my head, you know, like I mean, it's in my head. No, it's not in my head. It's real, right? So, and because, you know, some pain can be so bad that, you know, you end up at the A&E. So I have ended up at the A&E before because it was a crazy pain that is more than childbirth, you know. But you know, it's good for the professionals and people around to understand that these people are not making it up, that the pain is real. Things that can make it worse, weather. So most of the people that have fibromyalgia that I know, that I've worked with, I've asked them if they go to like Africa, Spain, or somewhere really, really warm and hot on holiday, do they really get a lot of flare? We call it flare when they're having, you know, the episodes. And most of them said they feel better. In fact, I have somebody that went for her mom's burial that just came back. She said she was better when she was there. And somebody else traveled recently and said she felt better when she was away, and now she's back within a day or so of coming back into the country, like so much pain and that sort of thing. So weather can make it worse. Once the weather is changing, I just start to get a lot of flare-ups and that sort of thing. Then stress can actually make it worse as well. So anybody who is going through fibromyalgia should try to reduce their stress. Don't let anything stress your life. Nobody should stress you. Nothing should stress you. Take things at a pace. You know, what you can't finish, leave it till tomorrow. You understand? I don't stress myself. Like I run my own business and I run it whatever I achieve, I achieve. Whatever I don't achieve, I'll try and achieve it tomorrow. You understand? So, and I don't put myself into any job that will stress my life. So I think about that. I think about my health. So that, because your health, you know, once your physical health is not being, you're not being able to cope, it can affect your mental health. And that's where depression sets in, right? So being able to cope, find distractions, social communities that would help is really good. Find a social bubble that will help you to distract yourself. You know, like some people, if they say come to Zoom to come and do something, they don't want to come. It's social. We are here. We are all having socializing together. You know, so yeah, okay. It means that emotional stress triggers fibromyalgia. Yes, emotional stress can it will make it flare. You understand? Even originally, to even when they are diagnosing, emotional stress can actually cause the fibromyalgia itself. Childhood trauma can cause fibromyalgia. So if somebody has been abused in their child, you know, during when they were young, when they were a child, something really terrible has happened to them, it can cause them to have fibromyalgia when they grow up. That's from some of the research they have seen from, you know, with people. And so whilst you now been diagnosed with fibromyalgia, emotional stress can make you flare up more. So there was a time I was woke up in the morning, somebody woke me up and I got a bad news, a very, very bad news. Something really terrible has happened to somebody really close to me, right? And immediately they gave me the news. I immediately had a flare up within 3-4 minutes. I could just feel pain all over my body straight away. You understand? So, so definitely stress and emotional stress, physical stress too, going to market, going to do, women busy doing a lot of things and all that, it can make it worse. Even going to the gym sometimes, you might decide to, I want to do exercise, but if you overdo it, sometimes it can affect you. So being pacing yourself during your physical activities, taking a walk, going for a run, you might be fine to do it sometimes, but again, it can fall back. So the menopause is, you see, one thing about menopause, and I'll tell you a little bit about menopause now. Menopause and fibromyalgia, they have similar symptoms to the extent that some people are going through menopause and it seems like they're having fibromyalgia, right? The symptoms are very, very relatable, right? So, but I'm going to move on to, and then you can all ask me questions together when we finish, right? So,
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you're joining from. Is another Ebony Ambassador Mental Resilient Workshop. Ebony Ambassador is